Nero, a day in the life of Rome's most notorious emperor. Imagine waking up in Rome nearly 2,000 years ago. The city is the center of the known world, and one man controls it all: Emperor Nero. Nero ruled Rome from 54 to 68 AD. He is remembered as one of history's most controversial rulers. Some ancient writers portrayed him as a monster obsessed with luxury and excess. Others suggest that some stories about him were exaggerated by enemies after his death. The truth is probably somewhere in between. So what did Nero's daily life actually look like? Nero was not an early riser. Like many wealthy Romans, he often slept late. While ordinary citizens were already working in shops, markets, and workshops, the emperor could afford a much slower start to the day. When Nero woke up, servants would attend to every need. His clothes would be prepared, his meals arranged, and important messages delivered. As emperor, he technically governed an empire stretching from Britain to the Middle East, but Nero was often far more interested in entertainment and personal pleasures than administration. Breakfast was usually light. Wealthy Romans often ate bread, fruit, cheese, olives, and wine diluted with water. Unlike modern breakfasts loaded with eggs and bacon, Roman morning meals tended to be fairly simple. Throughout the day, Nero would meet advisors, senators, military officers, and members of his court. However, ancient sources suggest he frequently grew bored with government business. His real passions were music, theater, poetry, and performance. One thing that made Nero unusual was his obsession with being an artist. Roman emperors were expected to be military leaders and statesmen. Nero wanted to be a celebrity. He loved singing, playing the lyre, writing poetry, and performing on stage. This shocked many Roman aristocrats because public performance was often considered beneath the dignity of an emperor. Nero would sometimes spend hours practicing music and singing. Ancient writers describe him training his voice carefully. He reportedly followed strict routines to protect it, avoiding certain foods and drinks before performances. Some accounts even claim he lay on his back with lead plates on his chest as part of vocal training, though historians debate how accurate these stories are. When Nero performed, audiences often had little choice but to stay and watch. According to some accounts, people were afraid to leave while the emperor was singing. Imagine being required to sit through a concert because the singer controlled the entire Roman Empire. As for food, Nero enjoyed the extravagant banquets common among the Roman elite. Roman feasts could last for hours. Guests might be served seafood, oysters, exotic birds, dormice, wild boar, fruits, pastries, and countless varieties of wine. The wealthiest Romans imported delicacies from across the empire. Since Rome controlled vast trade networks, luxury foods arrived from Africa, Egypt, Spain, Greece, and beyond. Nero's dining rooms were reportedly lavish. One famous palace he built after the Great Fire of Rome was called the Domus Aurea, or Golden House. It featured enormous halls, artificial lakes, gardens, marble decorations, and rooms covered in gold leaf. Some ancient accounts describe banquet rooms with rotating ceilings that showered guests with flower petals and perfume. Whether every detail is true is debated, but there's little doubt Nero lived in extraordinary luxury. When it came to drinking, wine was central to Roman culture. Virtually everyone drank wine, although it was usually diluted with water. Heavy drinking was common at elite banquets, and Nero was no exception. Ancient sources describe long evenings of feasting, entertainment, music, gambling, and drinking. The emperor often surrounded himself with performers, athletes, actors, and members of Rome's wealthy elite. Some historians believe Nero used these gatherings not only for enjoyment but also to strengthen political alliances and display his wealth. What about drugs? Romans did not have modern recreational drugs, but they did use substances that could alter mood and sensation. Alcohol was by far the most common. Opium was known throughout the Roman world and used primarily for medicine, pain relief, and sleep. Various herbal preparations were also used for relaxation and treatment of illness. There is no strong evidence that Nero was a habitual drug user in the modern sense. Most stories about his excesses focus on drinking, luxury, and entertainment rather than narcotics. Nero's personal relationships were often dramatic and controversial. He married multiple times and was involved in several highly public relationships. His first wife was Octavia, daughter of Emperor Claudius. The marriage was politically useful but reportedly unhappy. Later, Nero became involved with Poppaea Sabina, one of the most famous women in Rome. After divorcing Octavia, Nero married,